Shh, be quiet.
Welcome to the Powertrip podcast live. You're now tuned into our Thursday evening chat with your host,
Charmaine.
And Saquon, of course.
Hello, all.
What's happening,
people? Welcome to all our new tune-inners. Welcome to all those who are just tuning in, and welcome back to our OGs who've been rocking with us since the beginning. Before we get into the juice of today, we want to let you know every Thursday that we get together, every Thursday evening we get together and we discuss controversial topics surrounding family, relationships, and community. We have three main goals. Our first goal is to strengthen communication skills within our community. Our second goal is to expand our perspectives so that we can gain a greater understanding. And our third goal, and probably most important goal, is to continue to build exceptional families that will uplift the world around us.
Yes.
So with that being said, hello. Hey, Dolly.
Hey.
Keep that, Albert. How's everyone?
I would not get so loud.
How's everyone's evening going? We hope you are all well.
Yes, we do.
All right, let me share this on Facebook really quick. Gotta send out the video. Okay, perfect. Oh, wait, share. Okay, perfect. All right, well, thank you guys for joining us. We have a pretty interesting topic tonight on tough love. And then we also have an update for you guys from the conversation that we had last week, which will be very interesting to go over. So we're going to let people trickle on in, and then we will jump on into it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. How are you doing, Dolly?
Since we last seen you.
Which, not too long ago. Okay. All right. Well, people will come in. They'll come in. Alrighty. So, quick announcement. Did you want to say?
Oh, okay. So, should we say right now? Or let's wait. We'll see if more people come in, and we say it later.
Okay. Anywho, so we're gonna do the update from last week. For those of you, glad you're doing well.
Yes.
For those of you who remember, last week we discussed a conversation our emailers gave us about. It was this mother who her firstborn child. Okay, sorry guys, pregnancy brain. So last week we had a discussion. We had a discussion about this mom who was married to this guy, and they had children together, but she also had a child before they met. And the husband has been in that child's life ever since she was, I believe, 6. Right. And on her 16th birthday, she asked him to adopt her and become her, official father. He initially agreed, but then later that evening decided it was not the right thing to do. And he explained to the mother that he loved his biological children more than he loved her, the stepdaughter. So he thought it wouldn't be fair to adopt her. But he said she could have his last name. So the mom needed advice on whether or not she should divorce the husband, whether she should talk to the daughter or have him talk to the daughter. So we do have an update on that. Hey, Mama J. Hey, Papa J. Hey, Papa J.
What's up, Evan?
Alrighty. So we are going to read the update. My husband, who has been parenting my daughter for 10 years, doesn't want to adopt her, even after she asks him to be her real dad, and I don't know what to do about the marriage. So she writes in, everyone was helpful. I know a lot of people told me to divorce, but I'm going to try to fix things first. I don't want my oldest to feel like it's all her fault. I don't want my younger kids to resent her, and I am scared he wouldn't want to see her anymore. We are going to marriage counseling. I'm looking for a therapist for my daughter. I let my husband talk to her because I felt like I should give him that and trusted that he wouldn't be stupid. They went on a drive. Don't know what was said exactly, but they are both upset. I'm going to use fake names to make it easier. My daughter stopped calling my husband dad and now calls him Mike. Even if.
Now, if she even speaks, so look at him.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead. You take it over.
He seems upset by it, but I don't know what to tell him. Isn't it what he wanted? My girl has been very quiet and tired, and I told her to stay home from school for a few days, but she didn't want to. My other daughters asked us, why is Hannah calling Daddy Mike? Is he not her daddy anymore? Does that mean she isn't my sister? I corrected her, and my husband looked horrified, but once again, didn't know what to say to him. I've been calling her your sister instead of Hannah when I talked about her, and I hope it all helped. Once again, thank you. I'm exhausted as a mom and a wife, but I am the glue right now, and I'm doing my best to make the marriage work and be a good mom. So, looks like she did what we probably didn't think was the best.
Right. She let her husband talk to the daughter by herself.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Samantha. Hey, Boo Biz. Alrighty.
Hey, Samantha. I don't know if that's DeQuinn saying this or not, but.
Oh, hey, DeQuinn. Thank you. All right. So, yeah, she let the husband talk to the daughter alone, so she doesn't know what was said.
Right.
As we all said, it was going to be a lose-lose situation anyway, and cause a lot of friction with him deciding not to adopt her.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously the daughter's hurt because now she's calling him by his first name, and that's also causing confusion for her half siblings. So it's a lot going on, but I'm grateful that they're in counseling and that also the mom is going to get the daughter counseling. So I pray everything works out for that family.
Yes. So that was our little quick update.
Yeah, that was a quick update from last week.
So now, before we get into the actual topic for today, tough love, now that we have our guest here, we want to thank y'all, as always. Today is our 50th episode, so y'all been rocking with us for a long time.
Episode 50.
Yes.
Listen, that means 50 weeks we've been on this thing.
50 weeks. I mean, what, spread out is probably over a year? At least a year, probably? Yeah,
at least a year. That's funny.
But yeah, so but thanks for rocking with us.
Yes.
Obviously, I know our goals is to kind of increase the communication, make better families, do our thing like always.
Right.
And y'all are really helping us get there.
Yes.
Throughout these 50 episodes, I've seen a lot of change in myself. So y'all really been helping me out when it comes to growing individually and as a family over here.
Amen. I'm just kidding. I agree. I would say I feel like I've grown a lot, and we love doing this. We love coming on here, talking with each other, and also discussing it with you guys. It's just like a nice breath of fresh air where we get to all come together. We know we're going to have our Thursday evening chat, get to discuss different controversial topics that, a lot of us can even relate to some of these things. So it's nice to have, different soundboards to bounce things off of. Yeah. And we grow so much from doing this. So we appreciate you guys.
Yes. And we learn a lot about y'all too.
Yeah. So. We learn we all crazy.
But yeah, so thank you again. Before we get into this. So if you don't know, though, today's topic is tough love. I think we all experience tough love at some point in our life. Would you think so? You think so?
I think so. So when Saquon thought of this topic, and I was like, oh, that's a really good topic. And I had to sit back and really think, like, what is tough love? So in the comments below, you guys tell us what your definition of tough love is. and then we'll say like what our definition is, and then we'll read the real definition. What was your definition of tough love when you first thought of the topic, hun?
So my initial definition of tough love, right? Mm-hmm. Like I guess a blanket way was kind of like this: is doing what I don't want to do and what you don't want to do to better yourself, or like I guess if I'm the one giving the tough love, is everything that I'm doing that you probably don't want to receive at this time, but in the long run it'll help you out. That's kind of how I see tough love. Okay, you know, I love you enough to do what both of us don't want to sit here be doing.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I was just kind of stuck. I was like, I don't really understand what necessarily tough love is, but I guess what I did understand from it was that it is doing something that isn't easy and that the other person obviously is not going to like your decision, but you're doing it out of love for their benefit. So that part I did kind of understand. What do you guys think in the comments below? What is tough love to you?
Yes, and I don't know if I want to do this or not.
What?
If anybody would like to come on and say anything.
Oh yeah, and so, yeah, you can do it. If anyone wants to join us on video, just let us know and we'll send the link so that you can join.
Yeah, but so what was your thought on tough love? Like,
you didn't hear me?
I mean, I heard you, but I don't feel like you gave your actual definition.
I just said it's something that you're doing that you may not like, and obviously the other person's not going to like, but you're doing it out of love for them. But I honestly didn't have a full definition or a full understanding of what tough love truly was.
Just drop my stuff.
No, anyway, I'm going to ignore his foolishness. Clearly he needs a little more of these communication combos.
Yeah.
No, but okay. Well, while you guys type, you can read the real definition.
And I also, if you want to say something, if you would like to tell us your definition and come on here, please let us know so we can send you the link. Because I was going to just drop it, but go
ahead. So tough love is the promotion of a person's welfare, especially that of an addict, child, or criminal, by enforcing certain constraints on them or requiring them to take responsibility for their actions. So after I looked up after we read the actual definition, it made a lot of sense to me. And it just reminded me of like a child who, if they stole a candy bar out of a store and the parent ends up finding out, the parent sending them back into the store to return the candy bar and, take responsibility for their action. Like, that's not an easy choice because, well, for one, as the parent, you don't want to be embarrassed like you got the little thieving child. For the child, obviously it wasn't right for them to do, but now they have to go and face the consequences of their action. So to me, that was like an example of what tough love would be.
Right. So Irvin says tough love is when one person loves someone who's not doing the right thing in your eyes. So then you start treating them in a harder way, even though it hurts you to do so.
Interesting. Go ahead. Oh, and so also I was looking this up. I've seen some things of what tough love is and what tough love isn't. Mm-hmm. And one of the things what tough love isn't that really stood out to me is tough love is not based off of your preferences. And I thought that was a really big piece because I feel like a lot of times there's things that we want people to do, and sometimes it's more so out of our preference versus it really being something that's going to be, that's going to be, well, it could be beneficial still, but the thing that the person is doing is not necessarily harmful. So, for example, say like I'm a clean freak, and I just have a way of doing the dishes. I have a way of just keeping the house in order.
Right.
And you are a little on the sloppier side, or less like picking up after yourself.
Right.
And so the times you don't do it the way I want you to do it, it's like I put tough love down. And it's like, that's based off my preference, not necessarily what you were doing was harming you.
Because you don't choose to live the same. We don't choose to live the same life.
Right. So it's just based off my preference versus it actually being something that's going. And it may, yeah, you're going to be better by being neater. Right. But it wasn't something that necessarily needs to be handled that way.
Right, right. It doesn't really come to you until it actually is something that affects you.
Right.
You know, it affects you and your atmosphere, your environment, and things like that.
Right, right. But it's not necessarily, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it because it's my preference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's up, Daniel?
Hey, Daniel.
Daniel says, tough love is the kind of love you give when you care for someone beyond their feelings, emotions, or thoughts. All that aside, they need to hear what needs to be said. They need to feel what needs to be felt.
That's true.
That's true. That's true.
I agree. What would be a good example of tough love in your eyes? And do you guys have examples of when you either had to show tough love to someone else, or you experienced tough love from like a parent or a spouse or somebody yourself?
I know I've experienced tough love many times. I can't think of like one specific off the top of my head, but I can give an example of what I think tough love would be. Let's say, me and my siblings, 4 of us, you know, we all work, we all got a job, whatever, right? And every time we go out, my brother don't have no money. Well, the first few times, you know, we pay. Now, tough love comes to where, all right, we going to King's Dominion, it's Fright Fest or whatever the case may be, right? And we've been talking about this for months, and you ain't got no money. This time you can't go. This time you can't go. It's tough love. It's like, because you need to understand that this money, this affecting us, because we always got to pay for you. You get what I'm saying? And you should understand that, like, you got money. You should know that you should have it to pay for yourself, you know? And that's hypothetically speaking out, you know.
Right. Not to say he wouldn't have money to pay for himself.
Right. But that's what I look at like tough love. I can't front this bill for you right now because you should have had it. You know? It's up to you to be responsible enough to pay for certain things. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to let you feel how it feels to not have the money to be able to attend this event or feel the excitement of this event because you pay for it.
And so then how does that better him?
That betters him in for their own mindset. What's the way you solve this?
To be more responsible and save and have the money.
Right.
Gotcha. Love it. Okay. DeQuinn says, good example.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So yeah, the only example I have, well, I can remember of tough love for me is when I did steal a candy bar from the store. But
that's
I don't know if it
was this candy bar thing.
But I didn't. Well, okay. I don't know if this was tough love or not then, because I did steal it, right? And then my sister told on me. Hey, Aunt Samantha.
Hey, Samantha.
My sister told on me, and I didn't have to go back in the store, but I didn't get to eat the candy bar. She did. So, I mean, I don't know if that was tough love or not, because it was like, I mean, I got in trouble as well, but I didn't get to eat the fruits of my labor, my thieving labor. So I don't know if that's tough love, because I didn't necessarily take responsibility for it.
How'd you get in trouble?
I'm not sure what happened. I don't remember if it was back in the day. I don't know if that was a beating or like just I lost some privileges or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know because you got in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wouldn't be how I would handle the situation. So I can't say whether it's tough love or not. You know.
Yeah.
I think you got away with it if you didn't get in trouble. Like
I got in trouble by my mom. I just didn't have to go back to the store.
Then nah. I mean, she just chose to handle it that way.
Yeah. So, well, I just got in trouble. I guess that's just a don't steal lesson.
Pretty much.
Daniel says, tough love is getting a spanking right before going to church and act like you crying because of the Holy Spirit, but you can't believe your mom did that to you. And she turns to you and says, let the Lord have his way. I'm telling everyone, mama. Is that tough love or is that abuse? Because you're getting a spanking before you go to church. Well, I guess, yeah. I don't know.
Nah, that's not tough love. That's
not tough love, but
so that's the other side of the thing that we was thinking about is
when does tough love go too far?
Yes. Because all right, so you got tough love, and then you can be soft and just
like coddle somebody.
Yeah, coddle somebody, not really teach them anything. Mm-hmm. But then you have the extreme of tough love to where, you know, I guess we talked about beatings and spankings and things like that, and we both got them. But as we've talked in these conversations, well, I guess spankings are kind of pointless.
Right.
You don't even learn anything from a spanking.
Right, but fear.
That's it.
Yeah, and I think like the extreme of tough love, it could be, we said abuse, but it could be emotional, it could be physical, it could be different things because you're still, in everything, you're trying to correct a behavior.
Right.
And I do believe even when people are spanking a child, they are doing it to better that child and to correct, you know, a wrong behavior. That method may not be the best.
Right.
And even other methods that we may use may not be the best in correcting a child or someone with an addiction, you know. But I do feel like I was reading this example and they were like, tough love is when like your child asks you, can you tie my shoe for me? And you're like, you know, no, you try by yourself, but if you can't get it, I'm here to help you. So the tough part of it is, well, now they have to, you had to say no. Now they have to try to tie their shoe themselves. And then they say it becomes abusive if your child asks you and you're like, I know you're not this dumb where you don't know how to tie your shoe. Like, you know, where it's an extreme.
Right.
To where now you're taking this, I guess, inability or this thing that someone's doing and you're getting so mad to a point where you're like bringing that person down.
Yeah, you're trying to break the person.
Yeah.
You're trying to break the person rather than build them up.
Right.
And that's what the whole tough love thing is supposed to be, is to build them up, not to necessarily hurt them.
Right. In the end, I guess that's the biggest thing, takeaway too, is in the end, when you're applying tough love to someone, they should become better from your tough love.
Right.
If they become worse, whether it's emotionally, physically, or whatever they're dealing with, then clearly it wasn't the right thing to do.
Exactly. And you know, the results of tough love would be more so like when you are giving that tough love, you're not hurting the person, you're making them uncomfortable. That's
right.
It.
And temporarily.
Right, a temporary discomfort that they can solve, not for you to stop. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to just stop, you know, what you're doing. That uncomfortable feeling they have, they're supposed to relieve that themselves.
Right.
They're supposed to figure out what the solution is to relieve that.
Yeah, I think it's like about you setting boundaries to where they have to figure things out for themselves and become accountable for their actions and take responsibility so that they can change.
Right.
Because like we said, the opposite of tough love is more so coddling and like babying somebody. So now let's say you have that same child who stole from the store, and instead of making them take responsibility, you're like, oh, I did that when I was young.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy the candy bar. You know, don't
I'll
do it
pay
again.
for it.
Right? Yeah. It's like they're not going to take responsibility and think they can get away with things because now they look at it like, oh, all right. Yeah. Mom or dad, they said they'll take care of this. Pretty I can do whatever I want, and there's no consequence to it. No negative consequence.
Yeah, some people need to feel like they don't have a safety net. They need to at least, like, even if the safety net is there, you know, it's almost like that safety net have to be like last resort.
Yeah, right.
When they fall through perforated edges of paper, then that broke, and they're like, oh, somebody there. Like, they fell, and then you save them after you realize, I guess.
Ooh, and there's another good example. Actually, I was talking to my friend, but Aunt Samantha says that method is old and extinct, and she's referring to spanking. Yeah, I agree.
It is.
I agree. It should be extinct.
Yeah, it's not. It's not fully extinct, but
it should be. Yeah, because I definitely think there's better ways to correct a child.
Right.
So I was talking to my friend the other day, and we were just talking about like credit, and you know, as we get older, we're trying to do better things with our lives and build wealth or whatever. So she was telling me when she was young, she had good credit thanks to her mom, and so her credit limit was like $4,000, and she was only 19 at the time. So come on, a 19-year-old, $4,000 credit limit. She was shopping. Ballin'. So she went shopping and she was doing her thing. And then, you know, when you have a credit card, those interests, the interest rate, especially a store credit card, the interest rate is super high. So now when she's trying to pay it back, not now, but back then when she was trying to pay it back, it was like she could never catch up because the interest was just too much.
Fighting an uphill battle.
Right. So her mom, I'm like, shouts out to mom. She's bomb. She, instead of just saying, okay, I'm going to take care of it and pay for it. No, she didn't coddle her. But what she did do was say, I'm going to transfer this balance to a credit card with a 0% interest rate, but you need to pay it back. So my friend still had to pay her debt. However, her mom did support her in a way to where she was able to do it where she wasn't constantly falling behind.
Right.
She made it capable for her to actually achieve her goal, but she still had to take responsibility and take care of that balance.
And it's crazy. You told me this story, right? And the verbiage that you use, I really liked when you told me. It was basically saying, like, at one point, before she's drowning in debt,
right?
You know, she's drowning. Like, her mom came and just turned the faucet off for her and stopped the flow of the water. Like, all right.
But the water was still in the drain.
Yeah.
Or the sink.
Yeah, you still in the pond or something. You got to swim the shore. I stopped the flow. It's not as strong no more. You need to swim the shore. I'm not getting in the water.
I told Saquon, sorry, side note. I told him, our child is going to be looking at him like, Dad, you and these analogies.
But nah, for real, she's like, I'm gonna help you, but I'm not getting wet. I'm not getting in the water right now.
Exactly. You know? I'm gonna just help you by slowing down or turning off this faucet.
Right.
Yes, I love it. Okay, go ahead.
Daniel says, some of the best love I've ever received was tough love. One, because I knew it was coming from a place of love, and two, because I knew when they said because I knew when they said it that it was true. Tough love should never feel belittling. It should feel uncomfortably uplifting. Personally, I've walked away from tough love conversations never feeling shameful, defeated, or alone. I felt cared for, seen, and loved.
That is amazing.
Yes.
And honestly, that is true tough love. Because like you said, you should never feel belittled when someone is trying to, someone is trying to give you tough love. So that's all the people who gave you tough love, they did great.
Yeah, they did great. And even sitting here, you know, thinking about it, and we was talking about perspective, those people that gave you tough love knew you. Because like my parents, for instance, right? They gave me tough love. My uncle and them, they gave me tough love. And I've seen it become very beneficial, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I can't lie, not during the times of them giving me the tough love. It didn't feel. I felt alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I felt alone. I felt discomfortably uplifted. You know, but it didn't feel like, you know.
Right. And sometimes in the midst of it, I think like that's beautiful that Daniel was able to feel that, but I think sometimes in the midst of it, you may not feel like this is for your betterment or this is uplifting or something, because especially like if you think about like a person, not you were an addict, but like someone who's an addict or something like that, you're so engulfed in what you're doing. True. And even though it's self-harming, you're just so wrapped up into it, you may not see all of the benefits of leaving it alone. So when someone's giving you that tough love, you may just feel like, oh, well, now you're not going to help me. And then, you know, you try to make them feel guilty, or you may just feel like, oh, well, they're just leaving me. Like they're the people who are supposed to be there to help me. And now they're just letting me do this by myself. So you feel alone.
Which is true. But even when I'm talking about it, it's like perspective and communication, because in my instance, it's kind of like nobody knew my perspective. Nobody understood my goals. Nobody understood really what I was trying to do. So, but what they wanted me to do was what I was trying to do. Mm-hmm. But we weren't communicating. Like it wasn't no communication. So it was not like they tough love would have been, it could have been less, because they coming at me as if I'm not trying to, if that makes sense. So I don't know if I'm.
Kind of. I kind of get what you're saying based off of, it was just like you said, being on two different pages.
Right, because if we're communicating and everything like that, I wouldn't feel alone because I know that we here. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Rather than tough love just coming out of left field.
You felt like it was out of left field from your perspective. Yeah, because from their perspective, obviously they probably didn't think it was out of left field. They seen something and they were like, well, he needs tough love in order to change whatever they didn't think was right.
Yeah, at least that's what they thought. Yeah.
Right, from their perspective. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right, from their perspective. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's simply from their perspective. But for Daniel to be receiving the tough love and to have felt like, you know, he was still comfortable. He didn't feel alone. All of that. He felt like it was strictly from love. That's because of his perspective. Like receiving it, like he know that they hear, like you understand what I'm saying? That's what I mean. It's like they hear that, they communicate it. Everybody is on this even playing field where it's like this tough love is not belittling, it's not uncomfortable or nothing like that. I understand where this is coming from.
Yeah, and I think it comes from that, and then also just where you are as a person too, like on your maturity, your wisdom and stuff like that. Everything plays a big role into it. And I do agree, communication is huge, because, you know, that's something that like we strive for our podcast, is to increase communication skills. Right. And in a lot of our families, communication wasn't the strongest suit. And especially, you know, and it just happens from generation to generation. But now we're all learning like different skills and how to talk to each other and express ourselves. Yeah. And, you know, in a lot of families, sometimes it's just because I said so, no explanation, you know, so then you could be left feeling like, well, dang, you don't even want to hear my side. Yeah. But I think that, it just all comes with that growth.
Yeah. Daniel says, one thing my mom always did is she always followed up with us after a tough love conversation. For example, she would call me into her room before bed and would ask, how are you after our talk? Even if I felt terrible, she always made me feel like I could tell her how I truly felt. Because sometimes you walk away from those conversations feeling hurt, but she always made us feel like we could express ourselves. Nice.
And that is huge. Go ahead, mama. But that is very huge, because in a lot of our families, I feel like it was just because I said so. You don't kind of question it, and I don't really care how you feel at the moment, because I know what I'm saying is for your betterment. Right. So it's just a different way of thinking, and I think now as we have evolved, you know, things are different. But yeah, I like that. Thank you, Daniel, for that. That's really good.
I'm gonna definitely keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've talked about that actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's huge. Like when I think about children, specifically, especially since we're about to have one,
Mm-hmm.
like I look at children like they're little people still. Like they still deserve respect. They still have feelings and emotions. And I think a lot of times, like we talked about this on a few podcasts back, but a lot of times we get in this mindset where it's like the parent-child dynamic, and it's like an how do you say it? Authoritarian perspective, where it's like, well, no, what I say is just law, and it doesn't really matter how you feel.
And it's almost like their age take away from them having human rights.
Exactly. And we talked about it with autonomy as well, when we talked about like your child, when do they get to make the choices for themselves and have autonomy over their body. So I like talking about all these things, like just bring a lot up for us. And as, you know, new parents, it's like now there's so many things for us to think about. Not to say we're going to be perfect and our child's just going to be so balanced and wonderful. We're still learning. Yeah, exactly. It's like a forever growing and learning thing. Oh, Danny, where have you? Oh, you've been missing some episodes. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, we're expecting a baby girl.
Yes. But yeah, so I think that is very huge, and also understanding what true tough love is, and the ability to be able to say, okay, I'm still going to be stern, and you still do have to, you know, follow these rules, but we can still have a conversation, and you can still express how you feel. But these are still the guidelines that have to be met.
Exactly.
And then especially if you take it to the extent where someone's harming themselves or doing something that is detrimental to themselves, like you really have to draw that line.
Yeah, and that's the tough.
That's so tough and tough love.
Yeah, that's what tough love like really start messing with people, I think.
Yeah.
Because when someone's harming themselves, right? Let's say people that's on drugs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't want to see them out on the street.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so they keep giving them money. They always, you know,
support
what they're doing and everything like that. But sometimes for some people, you know, it sucks to see them hit this point, but some people got to hit rock bottom to bounce back up. You know, they got to hit the bottom before they get back up. It's just like that for some people, you know.
Yeah.
And you got to be the one to give them the tough love to.
And that is tough on both ends.
Yeah.
Because as a person who's handing out the tough love, it is difficult to see someone struggle like that. Especially when you love them and you know they have so much potential, and you know, like you just want to see greatness for that person. It's tough to watch them struggle and fail and be a victim of a disease like that.
Like I feel like if I had like a real friend, like a real like family member that was going through stuff like that, I'll probably drive by the area. Like if I had to be like, yo, you can't stay here no more, you know. And I know that, and I'm scared for them. I'll probably drive past the area that they be at all the time. You know what I'm saying? I might drop something by. You know what I'm saying? Put a 20 in the mailbox. I ain't do it. You know what I'm saying? But you're not about to do that here. You know what I'm saying? You're not about to do that here, and I can't fully support you like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, giving them the 20 if they're addicted to drugs is not necessarily the best. You can just bring them the food.
Yeah. I mean,
bring them some food. Bring them some food.
I give them. You know, it's not as frequent.
Yeah, but it is tough, and that is the tough and tough love, because then it's like you have to put your own feelings to the side and really weigh the pros and the cons of what is actually beneficial for that person, because it's not really about you.
Yes.
You know, you're doing this for them.
And it's tough.
And it is tough, and it's going to be tough for them too, because, you know, for one, being out on the streets and, you know, trying to make it day to day, is trying to make it day to day is a struggle in itself, and then dealing with an addiction is a huge struggle itself. So now they're kind of battling two different things, and unfortunately not everyone makes it back from those type of things, but there are those stories where people do like, okay, well, this is it. I can't live like this, and I have to do better, and then they do become that success story, which we pray for everybody.
And that's why you do that positive tough love as a child. So that you kind of already setting up this foundation.
Yeah.
For them to be able to kind of get out there, do what they got to do.
And flourish. Yes. And you pray. Because, God forbid, you could try to do everything in your power to make someone great. And we pray that it works for their betterment. And it's just like sometimes, for some reason, certain people just go off in different paths. And we don't know why. But, everyone has their own journey.
Yeah. Look at siblings. Everybody get raised the same, and
yes, they be coming out a little bit different. That is true. Yep. Daniel said, "Put a $20 in the mailbox and bring me my change." Saquon, I'm dead. That's funny, but yeah. So yeah, thank you guys. This is a great conversation, and do you guys feel like using tough love on your children is a good thing?
That's a good one. Do y'all think that using tough love for your kids is a good thing, or have been a good thing for people like you, my G, and
because everyone on here pretty much has even children.
You, Daniel, like, do you feel like tough love works for your children?
Yeah,
because I do feel like some children don't learn from tough love. Mm-hmm. Like, you do got to be a little bit more soft for them, because some people are a little bit more sensitive. Mm-hmm. But I think it's still like a balance, where and you said boundaries. I don't even like calling them boundaries. It got to be constraints, because boundaries don't always make people feel uncomfortable. You may have boundaries that I respect, and they don't make me feel uncomfortable.
Well, but it would if I was showing you tough love, because my boundary would be you can't do. Yeah, but
that's why I say constraint, though. You get what I'm saying? It got to be a little bit extra. It can't be your real boundaries. It got to be even more than that.
I mean, I feel like your boundaries can change, but I guess you're just saying you take the boundary up a notch to make it a constraint.
Right.
Communication, guys. I'm working with them.
Are they the same?
Where's my phone? I fell. Look up constraint.
But yeah.
Yeah, so you guys can just put yes or no, whether you think it'll be a good thing, or do you think it's positive to use tough love on children?
YouTube must be dead today, because we haven't seen anything really popping up from YouTube like that.
Or it's just not coming through.
A limit or a restriction, stiffness of manner, and inhibition in relations between people.
So then look up boundary. That was a constraint, was a limitation or restriction.
A boundary is a line that marks the limits of an area, dividing the line.
So pretty much the same thing. A limit. Yeah. It's him. You gotta love him.
Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up for the night.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us on the 50th episode.
Thank you guys.
Yes.
It's always a great convo, like always. Thank you guys for joining. Thanks for seeing you again this week, Daniel. Thanks, Samantha. Thanks, DeQuinn, for joining.
Yes, thank you guys.
Our OGs always, Mommy, my G,
Papa
Janae,
J,
Irvin. I know I'm missing somebody. I'm missing some people. But thank you all for tuning in to our 50th episode. Yes. We appreciate it. And shoot.
Until next week. Oh, follow us. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe.
Yes.
And then give us a like on YouTube and on Facebook.
Yes.
And then you can follow us on Instagram.
Yes, at the Powertrip Podcast.
On Facebook.
At the Powertrip Podcast.
Yes, and if you have any topics that you want us to discuss, you guys can email us at thepowertrippodcast@gmail.com. And thank you, Daniel. You're the best as well.
Yes,
and thank you, Aunt Michelle. We are so grateful that you've been rocking with us for a while too. So thank you so much.
Yes. And for now on, since we said it in the beginning, if you ever have anything that you would like to say, just ask for the link. You guys are welcome to come and be guests and
join us live.
So you don't have
video.
to always type in the chat. We like y'all here right with us on camera.
Yes. So make sure you guys are camera ready next week.
Yes.
All right. Good night, guys. Love you all.